Hello, YouTube. Scientists have figured out how to teach aliens our language using artificial intelligence. A dangerous idea that could lead to the enslavement of humanity, according to some. Astrophysicist French Marchi from the SETI Institute, an institution for the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and Ignacio Lopez Francois from NASA propose launching AI, artificial intelligence, into deep space. The aliens will find it, and it will teach them how to speak our language. This will simplify the contact. The scientists' article, the ones that I mentioned, was published in the journal Scientific American. Colleagues of the astrophysicists are as deeply shocked as probably the universe itself. What are you up to? They're asking. You should stop. Well, to listen to the contactees worldwide describe, it's not necessary to teach aliens our language. They come out of their saucers, flying saucers, and from the start, they talk in the dialect of the area where they visit at the time, telepathically. But telepathy is for weaklings. Real earthlings would like, of course, words from the mouth, and preferably without an accent. We don't have the need to learn their language. Humans are a delicious fruit on a high branch, so who will pick them and who will eat them? Only alien prince on a white starship. So the prince should learn our language, so to say. It is assumed that the alien princes are smart enough and will somehow cope. But Marchis and Lopez Francois still want to make it easier for the aliens. To do this, you need to launch an AI into space. One of the latest models of the AI. The aliens will come across it somehow, and it will teach them everything, and will prepare the aliens for the perception of the highest, there is no doubt about it, culture in the universe, the human culture. How to do all this, astrophysicists have no clarity as yet. First, you need to choose a large language model, compress it so that it does not take up much space, and either send it into space by radio or burn it to a disk and send this disk by rocket. The technological difficulties are enormous, but it's worth it. By sending carefully selected large language models into space, we will open the door to an unprecedented exchange with extraterrestrial intelligences, ensuring that our legacy will be preserved, they conclude. In the 19th century, it was planned to dig trenches in the form of geometric shapes in the Sahara, pour kerosene and set fire to them. That would be a signal to the intelligence out there. The other option was to cut down geometric clearings in the Siberian taiga. It was probably, not so much pity to do so in the taiga and Sahara. Well, fortunately, radio was soon invented, and Nikola Tesla even received a signal from the Martians. It is still unclear what it was, to be sure. Anyway, everyone understood that geometry could become the language of intergalactic communication. At the very least, those dots and dashes. At least it is clear to the aliens that the signal is artificial. In 1962, the Soviet Union sent a message to Venus in Morse code. Peace, Lenin, the USSR. If it was up to real people who lived in the Soviet Union and not the representative of the Communist Party, we would just sign help. But we had no means to. Anyway, this was the first message to potential aliens, because Venus was considered kind of habitable, and the Soviets paid close attention to it. I have a video about it. Now that the Chinese are paying attention to Venus, you should look at my video to understand what they found. Anyway, in 1974, famous astronomers Frank Drake and Carl Sagan sent a long audio message towards the star cluster in the constellation Hercules. There are a lot of stars in such clusters, and someone will accept our signal after 25,000 years, to be sure. The code that was invented was more devious than the Morse code. 1,679 binary digits. Since this number is the product of 73 and 23, the aliens need to build a field of 73 rows and 23 columns and apply signals to the plane. Don't mix it up. If there are 73 columns and 23 rows, nothing will work. If successful, they will see the aliens. They'll see a human figurine, symbols of numbers from 1 to 10, DNA and the solar system, and more. And yes, catch not only the signal, but also the moment. The transmission lasts 3 minutes. If you take your ear off the earphone, you lose the message. A little later, Voyager stations took with them gold plates where, in principle, the same information, but also completely naked men and women, which was later, I understand, condemned, but it was too late. Looks like the aliens who first received gold plates and then they're being sent AI, they would say, wow, in 40 years, they have invented clothing and artificial intelligence. This civilization is clearly making progress. Let's go conquer it. Nowadays, it's mostly advertising that gets sent to the stars. So in 2008, an advertisement for Doritos chips flew towards the Big Dipper. And in 2010, the pranksters, they sent a message in a fictional Clingtonian language. Well, this would completely confuse everyone. So imagine how the universe looks at us. As you can see, we haven't tried to say anything to the universe many times, and we don't really want to be understood. The reason is this: there is no motivation. We don't get anything from space ourselves. The target audience is unclear. It is difficult to formulate the essence of the message. Although people are able to understand any language without dictionaries, have you ever been surprised that travelers of the past just climbed or ventured into wild spaces and somehow quickly settled in? People are people, a common evolutionary past, similar thinking, and finally the sign language we inherited from monkeys. According to some, it helped the first Europeans in the New World. And what about the aliens? There are two options. Either accept that life is fundamentally incomprehensible. There's nothing new to try. Basically, there's nothing to try. Or like biologist Ari Kirschenbaum, to declare that all living things in the universe have one, in principle, language code. Kirschenbaum and his colleagues recently released a book titled Xenolinguistics. I believe it means linguistics of the other, where they try to build an alien language. Well, to some, this reading, comes to be disappointing because there is not one alien word. The main message, even if the aliens do not talk with sounds, but for example emit pheromones, their messages will still contain our logic, the beginning, the climax, and the ending. Not much there to go on, and since there is a vacuum in the new science of xenolinguistics, including a vacuum of ideas, Marchis and Lopez Francois are trying to shift the heavy mission to the AI. How do we know that AI will do better? We don't, basically. But there is just an underlying belief. AI can do anything. This means that it will be able to teach the aliens our language. Let's leave aside the simple fact that the aliens need to somehow extract a large language model from the signal, understand what it is, and how to use it. Let's say they extracted it and understood it. But is it wise to teach them the subtleties of our mentality and in general everything if they're going to conquer us, as is in fashion to talk right now? Just look at the social media and people who talk about UFOs and aliens. It's like sending maps of the area to a potential enemy. The hypothesis of an evil universe in which predators prowl and peaceful ones sit quietly is mathematically very good and explains the notorious silence of the universe. It's even funnier if we have to deal not with living beings, but with AI, reminds us astrophysicist Martin Rees. In fact, even if we, poorly developed, are going to launch something like this, what's the worst? What's going to be the worst? But it will be no easier to negotiate with a robot than with an answering machine. Rees sketched a picture of such a machine civilization. It prefers weightlessness. It's easier to build huge objects. Absolute cold electronics work better. And it's not tied to the stars. And why should it be? There is so much energy in a vacuum. The main thing is that their logic, if any, is completely incomprehensible to us, people of the earth. The worst thing is that such an AI civilization has no living hosts. Biological beings, according to Rees, transform into AI, and Darwin's evolution ends. For us, Rees thinks it's ending right about now. We may have 2 or 3 biological generations left, and then cyborgs, and then the machines. If you look at it from this side, we send AI to communicate with AI. The idea of astrophysicists does not seem so stupid anymore. But what will the machines agree on behind our backs? It remains to wait for the year 2025. After all, this year, 2025, according to the old NASA forecast, if they haven't forgotten about it, we will discover intelligent life in the universe. What an interesting year it's going to be. This is what I wanted to let you know today, and I will continue to bring you interesting ideas of science that is not afraid to face the unknown and ponder consequences and reactions to it, among other subjects that I usually talk about. And I want to thank you for your attention to my work. If you can support my research, you can do so in the links you will find in the description to this video. Please tell others about my work. Please sign to my channel. And like I said, stay tuned for more. Thank you.